So with that, the gauntlet has been laid down by the man himself. We'll take a semi-chronological approach to the story of Vince McMahon. The first set of clips is Bruce trying to explain the enigma that is Vince McMahon, and this one includes stories about the Stanford School of Dance and Pat Patterson smoking at Vince McMahon's house.
Another question here from Twitter. This is a dandy. How do you describe Vince McMahon to a stranger?
A crazy genius. John Layfield and I had this discussion not long ago, talking about how people say that he's out of touch and that he's lost it, he's this, that, and the other thing. I remember those same comments about him in 1984, that he doesn't know what he's doing, he's killing the wrestling business, he doesn't have a clue, he's lost his mind. I don't know how many times I heard it in the 90s, or early 2000 while I was there. Look, I'll put his track record up against anybody, but it was always intense, and it was insane at times, but it was never boring.
You know, when I first came to work there, and there was a time there in the early going, and then had my little interruption in service. I came back. Here's my point: is riding in the car with him when we go on the road to do TV, before the airplane, before the chart, the Lear, and all the Black Beauty and all that stuff. We were flying commercial, and we were renting a car, and he always drove the car he was riding in. He drove, as best I recall. I might be wrong on that, but I think he drove most of the time, didn't he?
A lot of times, yeah. And then when like when we were doing Raw, and it was just like me, Vince, and Pat. A lot of times he would have Pat drive. I would have to sit shotgun, and he would sit in the back in the bartender seat, and they would just piss me off. That's where Pout Boy was born.
Wow. But you learn a lot of things about him. He doesn't eat food with his hands. I actually one time said, "You don't eat with your hands?" He said, "Nope." I said, "How in the hell do you eat ribs? How do you eat fried chicken?"
I don't.
How dare you infer I might eat fried fowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway.
How dare you insist I'm normal? God. Meat on a bone?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they fry it, you say.
Yeah, I asked him one time the same thing about eating with his hands. Well, what about a sandwich? That doesn't count. I said, okay, how about pizza? I fold it over and I don't eat the part I touch.
Jeez.
What the fuck?
That's way out of my league, buddy. Hey, we got some questions here from Twitter, so you never know what you're going to get. It's a potpourri, so here we'll just knock a bunch of these out and just go until time's up. It should be some fun shit here.
Let's go for it.
Regarding WWE, and here, so it's a three-parter, and you can answer any or all of it, however you choose. Why did you leave WWE? Who told you were going to be gone from WWE? Did you expect it was going to happen? And do you think there'll ever be a reconciliation?
Okay. First of all, I was fired. Second of all, Stephanie McMahon fired me. Third of all, I did not know. And last but not least, you never say never in this business. And it's just that. It's business. And many years have passed, and time moves on and heals all wounds. And, hey, you and I both, we're no strangers to being fired by the McMahon.
No.
So, it's like shit happens.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's it, man. I was fired. I was asked to leave, and I left, and it was time. Everything runs its course. I had a great run, and I loved my time there.
How long were you there?
22 years.
Do you have any interesting Vince McMahon stories you can leave us with?
Not if I don't have music. Do I have music for the last one?
What music do you need?
Yeah. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'll do. You know what? Fuck it. I can improvise. I can do this shit without music. Because we were in this town right here one time. And the beautiful thing about being on the West Coast is you finish up early and you can actually go out, have a dinner. The fuck is that?
You asked for music.
Yeah, of course I get the wrong fucking music. But anyway, you can get in and you can actually go get a meal. You can go out and still get to bed and get some sleep before TV the next day. So we had done a pay-per-view, and we came into Vegas, and we're in early. And everybody goes to the hotel. Well, I'm happy because now I can sleep. So I take my night-night medicine, and I'm ready to go to sleep, and I'm in bed when I get a phone call. And the phone rings, I pick it up and go, "Hey, boss wants to go out." I said, "Look, I don't give a fuck what Stephanie wants to do. I ain't going out." And so it's like, "Come on, boy, we got to go." And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't want to go out." "You got to go." So I get dressed, but I get dressed strategically. I put on shorts and flip-flops and a T-shirt. Because wherever we're going to go in Vegas, they're probably not going to let me in shorts and flip-flops and a T-shirt. So I go downstairs, meet everybody, and Vince, and everybody's there and all that shit. And Kevin Dunn walks down. Kevin Dunn also is in shorts and flip-flops. I'm like, yes. So we go to the Wynn. And when we get to the Wynn, Vince is like, "God damn, what do you guys want to do?" And you got all these fuckers coming up, speaking in their watches. Vince McMahon is on the floor. And they all descend on us. And Vince says, "Well, let's go to the club." The club was the Tryst. And you walk over there, walking in line, and there's like a line, a mile long, people waiting to get in. And as we're all approaching, you can hear on their radios and the walkie-talkies them saying, "Oh, that's a no-go to the two in the shorts and flip-flops. That's a no-go, no flip-flops, not coming in." Then you go, "They're with Mr. McMahon." To which all of a sudden they go, "Hey guys, come on in." We're like, fuck. So we get Citizens little VIP section and the bottle service, and we get hammered, just fucked up bad. And I get a phone call. And it's from my buddy John Paul Shelnut, who's friends with Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. He says, "Where are you, boy?" I said, "Well, I'm in Vegas." "Well, we're in Vegas." I said, "Well, we're at the Tryst." "Well, we're going to be at the Tryst in a few minutes." So we're sitting there partying, Billy Gibbons, ZZ Top, Vince McMahon, all this shit, and all these people having a good old time. You guys ever, you see the movies where there's on a dance floor and all of a sudden the dance floor widens out and there's just two people in the middle of the floor dancing, a guy and a girl, they're cutting a rug and doing all these moves and shit together. Well, we're elevated up on this platform. So we can see onto the dance floor and kind of over the top of it and shit. And when we walk over there and we look over the edge, sure enough, in the middle of this circle, there's two fucking people. One of them is Billy Gibbons. And Gibbons is dancing his ass off, and he's doing this shit. And that's all he's doing. And it's bizarre. But trust me, it gets more bizarre. Because as we pan over, almost like in a movie, you pan over and you look, and he's dancing with Vince McMahon. And the damnedest thing, and the reason I remember this so vividly, was because there was a rap song playing. And it was Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire. And you can recognize lines and shit, but it's a fucking rap. Like, how do you do that to Johnny Cash? And I go over, and the only thing that can fuck up Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire, rap version, is to see Vince McMahon dancing to it. And he thinks he's good. So when you guys see Vince dance on TV and shit, that shit is real, and he actually really does do that in public. Are we ready to talk about how we spend our days?
I think it's time.
Well, we asked earlier today, and before I go ahead and go home, I can't thank everybody up here enough. Everybody came out, and thank you for making this all a reality. And had a shitload of fun, and we are going to have a shitload more fun. I promise you, and I promise everybody up here, this ain't the last live show that we're going to do.
Mayhem writes in, on the rare occasions, maybe a family vacation, is there a time when Vince isn't thinking about business? What does he do for fun? Does he have a hobby? Does he collect anything? What non-business subject would Vince ever talk about?
Loves to work out. Get a pump on. Yes, you do, sir. And may I say, what a pump you've got.
It's funny then because you guys have nothing in common, you and him, just wrestling.
Oh, working out.
Michael Eldridge.
He's a normal goddamn human being. Yes. I mean, you talk about football, you talk about just shit in general.
Oh, there you go. WrestleMania is 3 nights now. We'll be right back.
Okay, hold on.
Chris Fault writes in, why do faces rarely ever help other faces when they're being attacked by heels unless they are directly involved in the storyline? Seems like half the locker room are dicks for not helping out a fellow fan favorite.
Yeah, I agree. They are dicks.
Yeah, no arguing that. Bob writes in, does Bruce ever pretend to be Vince over the headset to the announcers during a live broadcast just to fuck with them?
No, I have my own ways of fucking with them.
I haven't, but I will this Friday. Stay tuned. Yeah. Thanks for the idea. Yeah. Uncle Jesse writes in, do you think when Vince McMahon eventually passes away, hopefully 100 years from now, that he would want it turned into a storyline somehow?
Wow. That's a good one. Probably not. No, I think that Vince would, in Vince's mind, I bet you that he would probably just want to go away and have everything go on without missing a beat.
Another one here from Eldridge. During Andre the Giant's documentary, when asked about Andre's death, Vince was clearly emotional about it. What other wrestler deaths affected Vince in a major way?
I think anybody that he touched, he definitely has been affected. You go back and people like Eddie Guerrero and just anyone, Owen Hart, the guys that were gone when they were with us, that was just highly emotional because it's part of your family. And we travel so much together. We do everything together that when you lose a brother or a sister, it's devastating. It's very emotional. Andre and Vince were the same age and they were very close. Andre had that history with his father and continued on with Vince. And I don't think that they had completely reconciled when Andre left. So I think that hit Vince even more so, but they all hit hard. It really depends. And it sucks because it is a fraternity and it is a family. Sometimes you may be fighting with a brother or sister. It doesn't hurt any less when you lose them.
Well put. I don't think I ever really put together that they were close in age. Vince is only 9 months older than Andre, which is crazy to think about. Some great friend of the show, Efren, writes in, do you still call him Sir, Vince, Mr. McMahon? And have you ever called him a name he told you to never, ever call him again? We get that question a lot. Like for Eric, people want to know, do you call him Hulk or Terry? And Eric says, well, kind of both.
It depends.
Yeah. It depends on the setting. It depends on the situation. Is that the same answer for Vince?
Yeah. It's usually when I greet him, it's like, hey Vince, but yes or no, sir.
Sure. Of course.
But I do that with you. I do that with everybody. That's just the way I was raised.
Growing up in the South, baby.
Right. And, I think one of the funniest things was when I called him Blue Boy because he was wearing like blue shorts and a blue shirt and blue athletic socks that had blue tops to them and blue shoes. And Pat Patterson and I were outside at the house and we saw him from afar and he was trying to find a glass in the kitchen in this big, huge house in Florida. And I'm doing commentary as Dusty, narrating him trying to find the glass because he didn't know where anything was. None of us did because it's like our first time there. And he's opening up all these cabinets and saying, well, look at him. Blue Boy ain't got a clue where he is. Ain't got a clue. He just wants the glass. Something to have some cool water. Maybe put a couple ice cubes in and have some fine scotch poured over the top of it. But Blue Boy's a little confused right now. And for the rest of that trip, he was Blue Boy. Blue Boy!
Dismal.
Blue Boy, I'm talking to you. I don't think we ever told him he was being called Blue Boy, but I know I did it to his face, and I just don't know that he knew I was referring to him.
David Martin writes in, what's the biggest change in the company since Bruce's latest return from quote unquote hiatus compared to his last run?
Oh God, it's a completely different company. It's just so much more professional. It's just so much more, it's corporate. It's big. It's a monster, and it always was. But at the same time, it's just bigger, nicer, and I don't know. Makes you proud when people used to talk about you're in the wrestling business and look down their nose at you. And now when you say, oh, I'm with WWE, and they go, oh my God, and they know all about it. And it's, look, I'm proud of the business. I'm proud of the company, and it's pretty cool to be a part of it all. So the biggest change is when I went back, and I remember the offices one way, and then you go back and the offices that you see in movies, with the big boards and shit moving and state-of-the-art technology around every corner. That's what it is now. And it's just the way that it's grown, and that's amazing to me.
No, that is cool.
Teddy, here's what we're going to do. Pick a kid out. We'll get a nice little kid, innocent looking, about, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 years old. It doesn't matter. And you get him up, find the cutest little bastard you can find. And all he's got to do is bounce a basketball 10 times. And you show him, you let him practice, make sure he can do it. And we count along. And he gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the whole crowd's behind him. And you get to 8, 9, and whoops! Kick the ball out. Well, what happens when you don't do the job? You don't get the money.
Talk to me about smoking. Anybody who met Pat Patterson knows that he enjoyed a cigarette or two.
Oh, goddamn. Or 2. Shit. At Vince's house during the winter, he would just go to the front porch and smoke. And he would throw his cigarette butts off the porch into like the landscaping there. They had bushes and shit there. Well, I didn't know that people actually did this. You probably do this. I didn't realize this was a thing back in the day, but in between seasons, like they would come in and have the landscaping people take out the shit like during the winter and put in things for the spring and the summer. So what would happen is Pat during the winter would throw cigarette butts in there. You couldn't see them because of all the fucking snow and all the other shit. When the snow melted and it's time for the fucking landscapers to come in and change everything, it looked like a fucking ashtray because of all the cigarette butts and shit that Patrick had thrown in there. He was, when he retired, I forget which time this was that he retired, but he couldn't help himself. The landscapers there were always landscapers at Vince's house doing something somewhere. So Jim Cornette and I are meeting with Vince out by the pool. We sit under like this little gazebo thing. And as we're sitting there, we hear one of the landscapers come up. And Pat had called me and told me he was going to do this. So I knew about it. And I hear the landscaper come up with a leaf blower. They're blowing shit all over the place and come up and go, "Hey, Pat." And he's like, comes up and said, "Vince is inside on the phone. So, it's not going to work." Well, and Vince could take hours on the phone sometimes. Pat's sitting there and we're bullshitting, me and Cornette and Patrick and all this stuff. And so I finally see Vince is off the phone. I see he's coming back outside. So, okay, go back down. So we're sitting there, and as we're working, we hear this, and he starts blowing the leaves. Vince is like, it'll just be a second. He's just got this one little spot here to do. Pat's got his shorts on. He's got a hat, way down over his head where you really can't tell. But instead of blowing the leaves away, Pat's blowing all the dirt and the leaves up into our faces. And Vince is like, God damn it. Hey, pal. Nothing. Boom, blows more shit. Vince comes to the edge. Hey, amigo. If I with that, all this shit comes blowing up in fucking Vince's face till finally Vince comes down around the pool, down the steps to go and confront this guy face to face. And right when he does, Pat sticks the fucking air blower, leaf blower thing right in Vince's face and goes, I just wanted to blow you, Vince. And realized it was Pat Patterson. But that, in the middle of his fucking day, that's what Pat would come do. Just to fuck with us. One time they went to Florida for Christmas. You know those giant concrete statues and shit some people have in their yards?
Yep.
Well, we had a place and just went out of business, and I went in and talked to the guy about it a couple weeks ago. They had like this gigantic, I think the chicken was plastic, but they had like these concrete big, huge. When I say huge, I mean they're like fucking 20 feet tall. Some of the statues and shit they had there. And so Pat and I go, hey, we want to rent these for like a week. And we'll pay to have them delivered. And we'll pay to have them get picked up. And the idea was that we were going to put them in Vince's courtyard so that when he came home from Christmas break in Florida, he comes driving up down the winding driveway and shit and runs right into this fucking 20-foot chicken. And the best plans got spoiled. But it was going to be an expensive rib. And then somebody knew somebody who knew somebody who had to get the exact address and had to get, oh yeah, I know the McMahons. Let me call them. Called over to the office and everything got spoiled.
Didn't Pat have some fun with an ashtray in one of Vince's cars once?
Oh, fuck. So Vince used to have this really nice Clone, and it was convertible. Vince used to park it when he'd come to the studio down by the loading dock. And in the Clone was a beautiful crystal ashtray. It looked very nice, all that shit. But Pat would make it a point that whenever the top was down on the Clone, to go by and have a cigarette and put his cigarettes out in Vince's crystal ashtray. Drove Vince banana, as Pat Patterson would say. What the fuck? They're going banana tonight at a pace at JKKJ's.
That is one of the critical points of a Pat Patterson impression is you mix up your plurals, right? So if there's an S, you drop the S. Shawn Michael. Oh, and the crowd go banana.
Yeah. Or if you're just going to eat, it depends. Yes.
Let's talk about his relationship with Vince, because I'm sure over the years there were some fights.
Oh boy. Yeah. It was Vince and Pat. Look, we worked so many hours that you get sick of each other and you need a break. Vince would argue he never gets sick of us and shit. But we would need breaks. Vince could be a little intense. And when we would do, especially when we started Monday Night Raw on the road, Vince would be doing commentary. Pat and I would write the shows. I would kind of run the backstage while also trying to produce Vince on commentary, and Pat would handle all the wrestling shit. You had to get in the car and get going to the next town as soon as you can because you had to drive at night. So we would get in the car and Vince and I would just start going at it. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You know, you did this, you did this, you did this. Why didn't that happen? Why didn't this happen? And we would fight. I mean, it would loud voices and a lot of cursing and a lot of shit. Just one night, Pat pulls off the side of the road, pulls into a bar, parks the car, gets out, walks inside the bar. Vince and I are still going at each other. We don't realize anything other than after a little while, about 10, 15 minutes. Is he taking a shit in there? What the fuck is going on? Let's go in and see what's going on. Vince and I get out of the car. We go in the bar. Pat's sitting at the end of the bar, smoking a cigarette, drinking a drink. We go down. Patrick, what are you doing? I'm going to fucking have my cigarette and have my drink, and you two motherfuckers can go to the other end of the bar, get all your shit out, and when you're done, then we can get back in the car and fucking go. Tired of listening to it. Spat basically managed us to the other end of the bar for us to fight our shit out and then come down and tell him when we were done fighting so he would drive us the rest of the way.
Lindsay has another follow-up. I'm doubling down on the Lindsay questions because, you know, we've got like 12 female listeners. So let's do some of those.
All right, rock on, Lindsay. Come on.
How would you rate Vince at commentating? And who would you say is his favorite commentary partner? And why was it Jerry Lawler?
Oh God, no, I'd say it was Jesse Ventura was the best with Vince. And look, Vince was terrible. Vince never called shit. It was like, oh my, and then from there, Yokozuna with an arm drag. Wait a minute, he's got him. 1, 2. Oh no. Vince just was cliches and would take you on a ride. However, emotion wise, I think you would be hard pressed to find anybody that could match the emotional roller coaster that Vince would take you on. Sometimes it was hyped up a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, I to this day, I still do the, you know, 1, 2, oh no. Anytime we're just, it's just there because it was, there were a lot of Vinceisms back in the day. Oh, what a maneuver.
I hope sometimes I just want to imagine, just lie to me and tell me this is the case. As you're seated next to Vince these days in Gorilla, you both got the headsets on, you're both watching the monitor, that you just break out into 1, 2, he got it. Oh no, he didn't. And Vince has to yell, God damn it, Bruce. Cut that shit out. Trying to watch the match.
No, I did that. It'd probably be, you know, God damn, that's good shit. If only they could do that now. No, and I don't think that Vince ever fancied himself a great play-by-play guy.
Was it more out of necessity, do you think, just in terms of he knows what we're trying to sell better than anyone, so why not have him do it?
In the beginning, without a doubt, it was out of necessity because his dad's play-by-play man just walked off the job one day.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was why Vince had to do that job, never having done it before. And then later on, he was the guy, he was the face that had done it for so long that he continued to do it. When I came in 1987, probably the very first or second month that I was there, there was always a search for that next play-by-play guy. Even then in 87, it was like, he didn't want to do it. He wanted to find the right guy to come in and do play-by-play.
Ian says, what was the last time Vince McMahon had a vacation?
Had a what?
Vacation.
A what?
A vacation.
Yeah. I couldn't even begin to guess.
I mean, his idea of vacation at this point is probably going to the shows, right?
Well, that's his relaxation. Yes.
His follow-up is, what's Bruce's favorite place to go on vacation?
A beach.
Yeah, I thought so.
A beach with no one around, and a private beach where they just bring you drinks in the water and feed you and no one talks to you. No phones. No nothing.
Here's the most weird question I'll ask today. Rory says, Bruce, do you shave your armpits?
Currently, no, but always did. Yeah.
Wait, why did you?
Oh God, it's much cleaner, much nicer. When it gets to the summer, I'll shave them. Yeah. I got the winter fur on now. The back, tummy, and pits will go.
Wait. You shave your stomach too?
Oh baby, listen, you gotta shave your tummy hair. It slims you. You got all that hair and shit on there.
I remember this now.
It makes you look sloppy and fat, so you shave. And I'm looking at dream more. But I did it. I still look sloppy and fat, but I got a fucking smooth belly.
We've also heard about Vince McMahon as a commentator, which I'm guessing is how many of us came to know him before learning he was also the CEO of the company. It's a modern-day equivalent to Tim Cook playing a coach on Ted Lasso.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.